तत्र श्रीमद् भागवतम की जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय गौर प्रेमानंद। Hare Krishna. So, what are we talking about today? The 6 questions by the sages of Naimisharanya to the sages of Seshadripuram. Right? All of you are also sages because the mood is the same, isn't it? At least we try to make the mood the same. Because their mood was they're always trying, they were really worried before the beginning of Kali Yuga, because a new Kali Yuga is coming. So they were extremely worried. They were thinking, what are we going to do? Kali Yuga is going to come. And how do we save the people of Kali Yuga? How worried we must be. We are in Kali Yuga. Okay. So the 6 questions by the sages of Naimisharanya. Some important prayers that Sutta Goswami had prayed before speaking about Srimad Bhagavatam to the sages. And this is something that all of us recite before we study Srimad Bhagavatam, or we speak Srimad Bhagavatam, or we hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Narayanam Namaskritir Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Bhavajayam Udhire Shinvatam Swagata Krishna Punyashvara Kirtana Hridayanta Slogi Badradi Vidanotu Sarastam Nashtaprayeshu Badreshu Nityan Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloki Bhaktir Bhavatin Nishti Om Jnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Vitamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravadi Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Videshitarane Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Lakayate Giri Yatkripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatari. Okay, so these questions and the answers, I'm quite sure all of you have been around for a while and you have read it and you have heard it before. But that is the beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam. That is the beauty of the pastimes of the Lord. That no matter what, how many times we have heard it, it is always very nice to listen to it again, right? Again and again and again, over and over again. Even if it comes from imperfect sources, like the Ramayana serial on Doordarshan, isn't it? So I remember watching the Ramayana serial when I was a child, but even when it came later on, then I believe it became very popular during the COVID time, right? More popular than anything else. So even people like to listen to it, even though it has come from imperfect sources. But this Srimad Bhagavatam has come from a line of perfect sources, absolutely perfect sources. So how much more relishable this must be? It's unimaginable how relishable Srimad Bhagavatam is, isn't it? So Srimad Bhagavatam was composed and written by Srila Vyasadeva, correct? And there are some acharyas who also say that Srimad Bhagavatam was already written. It was already written even before that conversation, the famous conversation between Narad Muni and Vyasadeva. So it was already written. Some acharyas claim that it was already written, but it was not, the rasa was not there in Srimad Bhagavatam at that point. So Srimad Bhagavatam has been edited several times by Vyasadeva himself. Right? So after the conversation with Narad Muni, he completed Srimad Bhagavatam and there was a lot of rasa in it. But later on, that Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken to Shukadeva Goswami, his son, and his glorious son, who stayed in the womb of his mother for 16 years. Right? He did not want to come out because such a terrible place. Who wants to come out? Isn't it? Only we have chosen to come here. Great people don't choose to come here. But he did not want to come, but he came for us, for our reason. There were no usual samskaras that are performed now anyway. In Kali Yuga, everybody's, most of them at least, are Varna Sankara. There are no samskaras performed. But samskaras were not really performed even for Shukadeva Goswami, not because he is so fallen and rotten like us, but, or me, sorry. But he was so glorious that it was not required because he was a Paramahamsa even in the womb. Right? Even in the womb, he was a Paramahamsa. So for them, it is not required. And Vyasadeva realized that about Shukadeva Goswami. But otherwise, there are many people today who may be wearing a tilak, who may be wearing devotee clothes and not really following the principles. We may have gone through so many samskaras and we claim to be Brahmanas. But are we really Brahmanas? Are we really qualified? That is something that we need to introspect. Right? Dharmadvaji, Srila Prabhupada calls them Dharmadvaji. There is a meaning to Dharmadvaji. What is Dvaja? Like a flag. So I carry my tilak, I carry my kantimala, I carry my devotee clothes only because I want respect from others, so that others may look at me and think, oh, what a great sadhu. And my behavior, I will mimic the behavior of a sadhu, so that people may think, oh, this devotee is so humble, so nice, let me show respect to this person. Dharmadvaji. Right? So Dharmadvaji is, it is better to be a beggar on the street with honesty than being a Dharmadvaji. Right? So our Vyasadeva, the glorious Vyasadeva, has taught us how to even listen to Srimad Bhagavatam. He wrote Srimad Bhagavatam and he spoke the Srimad Bhagavatam to Shukadeva Goswami. And later on, when Shukadeva Goswami spoke Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva was personally there. He was listening. How many people want to listen to their own students? Isn't it? If I write a book and somebody else reads that book and they get inspired by that book and they say that I'm going to talk about that book and share my thoughts, and will I be too enthusiastic to have my book you are reading and they will tell me, so much ego will be there. But Vyasadeva sat down and he listened to him. And he made notes, not like us, but they were so wise. He made notes. And then he included that conversation. Not just that. Even later on, when Suta Goswami spoke, he was aware of even what conversation happened even there. And he included that also in Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? So that is the process. The process is that we hear from other devotees. Even if we think we already know, I already know this pastime. Now, what else is there for me to know? No, we should hear again and again. Like Srila Prabhupada. That's why Srila Prabhupada is respected just as much as Vyasadeva. Right? He's a representative of Srila Vyasadeva for us because he used to read his own books and he used to relish his own books, not just in the mood of editing, have they printed it correctly or not. That also was there, but he used to relish his own books. All of you have heard this pastime. of how Srila Prabhupada would read his own books, and his disciples are asking, why are you reading his own books? So he said, his books were dictated by Krishna. I'm only writing the script, but Krishna is dictating and I'm simply writing. Srila Prabhupada used to read his own books. So this is the process. Our acharyas have taught us how to listen to Srimad Bhagavatam, hear Srimad Bhagavatam from various sources. So just sharing a few thoughts here, seeking your blessings, and kindly forgive me if there is any mistake in my during the course of this discussion. So the first 3 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, verse 1, 2, and 3. This establishes Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. Okay? If you go through the 3 verses, you will see how Vyasadeva has established Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. In the Janmadhyasya Vitaha verse, he establishes Sambandha, because we need to understand who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is. What is his position? Atato Brahma Jignasa, Brahma Sutras, Atato Brahma Jignasa. After you finish all the Karma Kandas, because the Vedic literatures will give everything. Vedic literatures will give Karma Kanda. It will tell you how to enjoy life also. If you want sense gratification, yes, we will tell you how to enjoy your senses. If you do this particular sacrifice, if you do that particular sacrifice, if you please Indra, then you will get this one. If you please Agni, you will get this one. So all of that is there in Karma Kanda. But ultimately, the essence of all the Vedic literatures in the Brahma Sutras or Vedanta Sutra is that now what are you going to do? Atato Brahma Jigyasa. That you have this Jigyasa to find out where have you come from and where are you supposed to go? What is the goal of life? And the same principle is established right there in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam in this verse. So Sambandha and Abhideya in the Dharma Projita verse, that what is Dharma and what is the purpose of Dharma? What is Paradharma? What is Aparadharma? Was also established. Because in the second verse, though the first verse speaks about the definition of the absolute truth, the second verse speaks about the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. And while speaking about the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, it talks about what is the Paramadharma. The Paramadharma is to surrender to Krishna, to please Krishna. And the third verse is an invitation. Prayojana is an invitation to study Srimad Bhagavatam, to relish Srimad Bhagavatam, to enter into the world of Srimad Bhagavatam, the spiritual world of Srimad Bhagavatam. Nigamu kalpataror galitam phalam shukamukad amrita drava samyutam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasikabhi bhavakaha. Rasamalayam. Alayam means abode. Rasamalayam. Rasa means mellow, divine, transcendental mellow. So this mellow, where the abode of this entire mellow is Srimad Bhagavatam. Because the Srimad Bhagavatam originally came from where? Where did Vyasadeva hear Srimad Bhagavatam from? From Narad Muni. Where did Narad Muni get it from? Srila Prabhupada says Narad Muni brought it down from the spiritual world. So he brought it down from the spiritual world. And then he presented that to Vyasadeva. So how fortunate are we? Without any qualification. This is causeless mercy. Without any qualification, we sit here and we discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. Very fortunate that way, isn't it? So this verse is an invitation to taste Srimad Bhagavatam. So Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana were established. And immediately after that, the glorification of Naimisharanya. Because Naimisharanya is how many of you have been to Naimisharanya before? Naimisharanya. Anybody visited? Not visited? Okay. So you must visit whenever you have the opportunity. Next time, if you're going for a yatra, you should go to Naimisharanya. Okay? You can trouble Prabhu for taking you there sometime. Okay, so you can go to Naimisharanya. It's a wonderful, beautiful place because this is where all the sages of Naimisharanya were performing a great yagya, a great sacrifice. For how many years? 1,000 years, right? At least that was the plan, that we will have a 1,000-year yagya. And why were they doing the 1,000-year yagya? Because they were worried for the people of Kali Yuga. And they said that we have to do something for them, right? To counter the effects of Kali Yuga, we have to do something. There must be some method through which they can go back to Godhead. So what can we do? So how kind-hearted these sages were. And they were worried, but they did not know the clear process. They did not know what is the best way. So they did whatever best they knew, and they were performing this yagya. And during this time, somewhere between the whole process, one morning, when they had done their first fire sacrifice, and the sages were all very, the entire body was filled with ash, soot, because of all the fire. If we just sit in one yagya here for half an hour, you can see all our eyes are watering, everything happens. Imagine for so many hundreds of years they've been performing yagya, their entire body was filled with ash. And in this condition, they saw another great personality, a very great sage, very great sadhu, who is Srila Suta Goswami. Right? So Suta Goswami. And who was the son of Roma Harshana Sutta. He was also a great personality. And he met a certain end. All of you know that particular pastime. And his son was Suta Goswami. Suta Goswami was present during the conversation between Shukadev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. So whatever Shukadev Goswami has said, he had absorbed it. He had taken it all. It was so rich was their memory and their ability to analyze, their ability to remember. So Suta Goswami came, and when he arrived, all these great sages, they asked him 6 questions. They accepted him as their leader. They said, you have heard from Shukadev Goswami. You were in the presence of Narada Muni, you were in the presence of Vyasadeva, you were in the presence of so many other great sages. So you are certainly qualified. Because you have now understood the truth, you are certainly qualified to answer all our questions. So you please be our leader, please be our captain. So they accepted him as their captain, just as we have accepted Srila Prabhupada as our captain. So very humbly, Suta Goswami accepted that position, because that is also a duty. When you hear from somebody, you must share it. What happens to knowledge when it is not shared? When we read and we have understood and we don't share it with people, then it becomes rotten, and it turns into arrogance. You become very puffed up. So if we have read something and I feel, no, I will not share this pastime with these devotees, later on during the class, I will reveal this pastime, and then everybody will think, this devotee is so knowledgeable. Right? They will all clap, and after the class, they will come and say, oh, you are so knowledgeable. Right? So if you keep this knowledge within ourselves, and you feel, if I share it and that devotee's class is tomorrow, mine is day after tomorrow, and he will go and tell this pastime tomorrow, then what will happen to my glory? Isn't it? I don't know if you know any devotees who think like that. There are quite a few devotees who think like that. There is one fool sitting in front of you who thinks like that sometimes. So knowledge should not be hidden in the heart. It should always be shared. So Suta Goswami, he shared open-heartedly whatever he has learned. He said, no. I went to the class so far away. I heard the class, and all of you are sitting here and asking. No, he shared very happily. He shared, because that is how it is. That's the process. That is how it should be done. Okay, so holy place of Naimisharanya. So what were the 6 questions? Let's read the 6 questions. The first question was, what is the ultimate benefit for mankind? That was the first question. Second question, what is the essence of all the scriptures? Third question, for what reason did the Lord take his birth from Mother Devaki? Why did he have to come from Mother Devaki? Because that was a very confusing thing for them. Because the Supreme Lord himself, why from Devaki? Why from a womb of a woman? Why like that? Because it's not a nice position to be in, isn't it? So why from the womb of Devaki? That was one of their questions. The fourth one, describe the wonderful deeds of the Lord when he assumed the forms of the Brahma, Rudra, etc. These are the Guna-avataras, for the purpose of creating, maintaining, and destroying the universe. Fully describe the activities of Lord Hari's incarnations within this universe. That is the Purusha Avataras, Leela Avataras. And then the sixth one, where has religion taken shelter after Krishna has retired to his own abode? Now that we understood all the pastimes, but now Krishna is not here. Now what do we do? Now, where should we go? Who is our shelter? So these were some very valid questions that came from the sages of Naimisharanya. So let's see what are the answers. Actually, the answers to these questions are spread throughout Srimad Bhagavatam. It is there all over Srimad Bhagavatam. But Srila Jiva Goswami, though Srila Jiva Goswami agrees with this, but he also says that these answers to these questions, in brief, was already answered in the second chapter and the third chapter. So he says that the first four questions were already answered in the second chapter, and the next few questions were answered in the third chapter. So this is the opinion of Srila Jiva Goswami. So we also are of the same opinion because we come in this sampradaya. What is the value of our opinion? Jiva Goswami has already shared his opinion. So we will say yes. That's how it is. Okay, so the first question. What is the absolute and ultimate good, Shreyaha, for people in general? So dear sages, what is the absolute good? All of you already know the answer. What is the absolute good for all of us? What should we do for every living entity? Somebody said, Bhakti, surrender to Krishna. That's the absolute Shreya, because there are many great things to do. There are many great pious activities to perform in this world. So many yajnas are there, so many wonderful things are there. But the greatest of all, unmatched by anything else, any other activity in the three worlds, is bhakti. So this is elaborated especially in the second chapter, verse 6 and 7, and it goes on till 27, verse 27, where Sutta Goswami explains the ultimate benefit for people in general and how to become free from this material world. And this is also there in fact, the second question and the first question, Sutta Goswami kind of mixes that together because the answer to both the questions are the same. And here, the second question is, what is the essence of all scriptures? That is also bhakti. Essence of all scriptures is also bhakti, is also surrender to Krishna. So the answer to both the questions are the same. So he elaborates with in a similar manner by mixing both the questions. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti adokshaje ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasiddhati. So how should this bhakti, now that we know that bhakti is the process, how should this bhakti be performed? Ahaituki and apratihata. What is the meaning of ahaituki? Yeah, without any motivation. Okay, motivation means material motivation. No motivation. Ahaituki. Apratihata means uninterrupted. Ahaituki apratihata. So there should be no ulterior motive when I'm performing bhakti seva, when I'm performing service to the Lord. And this is something that we have to be very, very alert about when we are performing services. Am I looking for personal glory? Am I looking at, I will do the service in such a way, and some devotees will look at me and say that, wow, this devotee is wonderful. It is natural. Those feelings will come in our heart. But we have to be alert and we have to pray to Krishna, that Krishna kindly remove these dirty feelings from my heart. these feelings of mamatva or feelings of personal glory. Me, I need to be glorified. For how long? For billions, millions, trillions of years, lifetimes, we have been the center of our own lives, forgetting that Krishna is the center. At least in this one lifetime, we have to be very alert and make sure that Krishna is the center of our life, of our activities, whatever activities we perform. Because Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport this verse, he talks about two margas. One is pravrti and the other is nivritti. Pravrti is for sense gratification and nivritti is for renunciation. So we must be alert that what marga have I chosen? And in this marga, am I diluting this marga with my own personal motivations, with my own personal desire for sense gratification? Because can you find sense gratification here in the movement, in the Hare Krishna movement? Definitely. You can definitely find it. ISKCON is a desire tree. And whatever you desire, Krishna will sanction it. If you look at some devotees on YouTube, wonderful devotees are there who have become very popular. If you look at them and you feel popular, whichever temple they go, everybody is like, Prabhu, Prabhu, so glorious. Somewhere some desire will come. I'll also make one YouTube channel. There is nothing wrong with making YouTube channels, because if we're using that to glorify Krishna, we must do it. But if I'm doing it with the motivation that I should become as popular as those devotees, then it is not hate people. Then that is a problem. It's a big burden to carry, you know. It's a very big burden to carry. Those devotees who are popular and still continue their devotional service are very, very great. I pay 1,000 obeisances to their lotus feet. Because I know personally I may not be able to do it. Because when you have the entire world glorifying you and telling you are so amazing, to still maintain humility and practice Krishna consciousness is a very, very difficult thing. Na janam, na dhanam, na sundarim. The last two is okay. Dhanam and sundarim, we may be able to renounce. But janam, followers, very, very alluring. Because when you have people following you and people telling you that you're glorious, you're amazing, can I accept you as my guru? Then it's very, very disturbing to the mind. We will not be able to chant, or whatever practices we are doing, you will not be able to do. Gaur Gopal Prabhu, who is very famous on YouTube, he had once said that whatever popularity I have, whatever fame I have, you know, his name comes in so many magazines and this and that, he's known worldwide. He says, whatever I have is not Krishna's mercy. He says, all of that is my karma. But what is Krishna's mercy is that despite all of that, I'm able to chant in the morning. That is Krishna's mercy. Right? That is true. Because other things karma will give. Because how do you become popular? If it is there in your karma to become popular, you will become popular. You just use that karma in the service of Krishna. If you don't have that karma, you have 5 channels, you hire one PR team, you do everything. Nobody will not, you'll get 5 views, 4 views, then you'll get frustrated. The karma is not there, what to do, isn't it? So there's, you can try. If it is not working, then you should say, okay, karma is not there. Sometimes karma may be there, but Krishna may not sanction, right? Because he'll know that you cannot handle it, don't. So he will remove that karma also. He can do that, isn't it? So this is something that we should be aware of. Sense gratification can creep in very easily. If you want to become a leader within ISKCON, sanction. If you want to become popular within ISKCON, sanction. If you want to memorize 1 lakh verses so that you can keep reciting and impress everybody, sanction. But if you want to memorize verses so that you can remember Krishna, then Krishna will take some time. That he will take time. Because when a devotee is desiring like that, your desires, then Krishna has to give himself. So then it takes time. That he doesn't give easily, isn't it? So we should be very worried. The moment I have some desire and Krishna has sanctioned, then we should feel something I desired and it came true. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yat Ahitukim. So this Vairagya and Jnana comes how? Ashu. Very soon will come if we engage in the service of the Supreme Lord. But it should be done with a pure heart. It should be done with pure intentions. We should at least try to keep it as pure as possible. Not look for personal glory. Simply serve. Simply serve. Even if tomorrow you become a leader and you have few devotees who are reporting to you, who are following you, all of that. At that time also you should think that I am their servant. I am not their master. I am their servant. We should not take Prabhu very seriously when other devotees call us Prabhu. Right? Yes. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, yes. Master calling. So we should not take that very seriously. It is for them. When others call you Prabhu, it is for their purification. Isn't it? It is not for us. So we should not take that very seriously. In fact, it should remind us that so many devotees are calling me Prabhu, but in my personal life, do I really deserve to be called that? Then I need to really pull up my sadhana. I need to be very nice. I need to be very good with my sadhana, with my personal character. Otherwise, I'm cheating everybody. I'm cheating all the devotees. I'm cheating Krishna. I'm doing all of that. And mainly I'm cheating myself with that. So I should at least live up to that particular position. Correct? To whatever level I can. So by rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. Because there's nothing else that is required. All of us have come from so many backgrounds. It could be eating meat or drinking alcohol or drinking coffee, drinking tea, onion garlic. One devotee, I asked him, a devotee friend of mine, what was the greatest sacrifice you made? And he said, onion dosa, greatest sacrifice. He said it was his favorite. At least 2-3 times in a week, he had to eat onion dosa. But he said, coffee, tea, alcohol, I didn't mind any of that. But when that Prabhu told me, you can't have onion dosa, my heart broke. So everybody has their own favorite desires, something or the other, but that is bhakti. Whatever is our favorite, we give it up. Right? We give it up for Krishna. Isn't it? So that is when you do something for Krishna, then Krishna is also moved to do something for us. Correct? But how does that come? If you're not getting detached, that means you're not performing service. And you're not performing service in the right mood. But actually, if you perform service for Krishna, then automatically Vairagya will come. Detachment will come. Or knowledge also will come. Otherwise, we will struggle. That's why you see so many devotees in the past during Srila Prabhupada's time when Prabhupada preached in the West. You look at a lot of modern Hollywood celebrities who are addicted to drugs and all that. They go to rehab, they come back, go back, come back. Right? 3 months they will be clean, then they will go back to drugs again, then they have to go back to rehab again. During Srila Prabhupada's time, so many people addicted to so many things, but what did Prabhupada do? Just gave them injection of Hare Krishna Mahamantra and finished all their and engaged them in service. When all of them engaged in service, then automatically knowledge came and renunciation also. Correct? So there were Shri Jagannath Badev Sudaprama. Some devotees later on, they fell from their position, all that happened. But still, I don't know if you have heard of Kirtanananda Maharaj. When Kirtanananda Maharaj was there, it is said that when he used to go to preach, he used to carry 2 books and he used to walk directly into a church. He used to carry 1 Bhagavad Gita and 1 Bible. And he knew both. Even upside down, you hold it, he knew completely. And he would hold the Bible and he would hold the Bhagavad Gita and he would walk into a church and he will say that I'm going to read the Bible to you, I'm going to read the Bhagavad Gita to you, and I'm going to prove to you that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. And he did that in the first 1 or 2 years of his association with Srila Prabhupada. There was no Veda base, not so many books were printed, right? No big, large groups, association, all this. He used to listen to Prabhupada's books and read Bhagavad Gita. And imagine the potency. So this potency doesn't come from our reading and memorizing. This potency comes from the lotus feet of Sri Guru. When you surrender to the lotus feet of the spiritual master empowers you. And then you will be able to do the most unimaginable feats, unimaginable tasks. So our personal capacity doesn't matter. If the spiritual master is pleased, then we will be able to perform all kinds of tasks. Mukam karoti vachalam, pangam langhayate girim. You can climb mountains. Even a lame person can climb mountains. Isn't it? So the third question. Tell why Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was born in the womb of Devaki. Now, why is that a problem? Why taking birth from the womb of Devaki? Why were they so perturbed with that? Because the whole process, in the samskaras, when you, in the process of samskaras, when someone passes away in the family, we don't come to the temple for a few days and Allah, because it's a purification process, because we become impure for a few days. The same thing happens when a child is born in the family also. The whole family becomes impure. Why? But death, okay, we understand, somebody died, whatever, you go to the crematorium, all that happens. But baby is born, why whole family is dirty, impure? Because the process of birth itself is a sin. Because even in the womb, consuming, what are we consuming? What is the baby consuming? What the mother has already chewed. It is practically vomit. What the mother has chewed, the baby is consuming that. And it is considered a sin to eat the vomit of another living entity. So look at how this material world is. You don't have to come out of the womb and perform some activity to commit a sin. Right there in the womb, you like it or not, sin is forced upon us. That's why it is so disgusting, this material world. Right? It's so disgusting. So, Shatari, we play Shatari on our head. So the Sri Vaishnavas explain what is Shatari. We say Shatari, Shatari, we say, what is Shatari? So Shata is there are different kinds of winds, different kinds of vayu that is there in the body, right? To push the stool out and for us to breathe, and you get body aches, all that happens because vayu issues are there in the body. So there is one kind of vayu called Shata, which pushes the baby out of the womb, from the mother's womb. Ari means enemy. So the lotus feet of the Lord is Shatari, the enemy of that wind that pushes out from us from the womb of the mother. So that stops birth and death. So when we are running, Pujar is giving Shatari, we go there, pushing other devotees and all that. We should understand why that Shatari is there on our head. What is the purpose? Otherwise, simply he'll put it on, thank you, very good, and we run away. So what is the purpose of the Shatari? It's not part of the Gaudiya Vaishnava system. It's there, in South India we do that because it's part of the Sri Vaishnava culture. But it's okay, it's accepted, so it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. So that's why the sages of Naimisharanya are wondering why Krishna had to be born in the womb of Devaki. Right? Why like that? So the difference between us being born in the womb of a mother and Krishna being born in the womb of a mother, is that it's his own sweet will. Through his own sweet will, he takes birth. But for us, do we have any choice? Any mother? Next time, Ambani family, please. No choice. Wherever, whatever is our karma, you have to be born in that womb. You can't choose which varna, which family, how much wealth they have. No choice. So wherever our karma pushes us, you have to take birth there. But that is not the case for Krishna. Krishna can take birth wherever he wants to, however he wants to. He can come out of a watermelon if he wants. He can do that. Right? So here, this was his blessing to Mother Devaki, that he took birth in the womb of a mother. And the purpose of his birth is to reclaim souls, is to reclaim the living entities, because that is his primary duty. And that is why he comes again and again and again, to reclaim the souls. There's one Sri Vaishnava Acharya who explains why the Lord, all of us have gone to so many temples. No? So one place you see the Lord Ranganatha is lying down. One place you see he is standing up. In maybe Tirupati or few other temples, Varadaraja Swami, he is standing up. Some places he is sitting down. So one devotee asked why the Lord is sometimes lying down, sometimes standing up, sometimes sitting. What is he doing? So the explanation is that just like a person who gives you loan, right? If a person has given you a loan and if you have not returned that loan, that person will come to your house and he will wait. So you will say, no, I don't have anything to give you. He says, no problem. He's a very calm person. He says, no problem. I will wait. Till you get that, I will wait. So sometimes he's waiting in your veranda. He's sitting sometimes. Then after a long time, he's lying down. Then he will stand up. He will stretch. Then he will sit down again. Very patiently, he's waiting. So the Supreme Lord in the various temples, he's showing that, hey, I'm waiting, man. So many lifetimes I'm waiting. What are you doing? And we are telling, no, this lifetime I'm not ready. I still so many things I have to enjoy. Not this time. Next time, try again. After the break, try again. So after death, next lifetime we'll try again. So we've been pushing away Krishna, who has allowed us to be here. So I think this lifetime we should pay him back. No, he has waited for too long. So this lifetime we have to pay him back. So when you go to temples, you can remember. When you see the Lord lying down or sitting down or standing up, we should feel ashamed. I'm so sorry, you are waiting for me for so long. I'm going to try my best. I will chant well. I will practice my principles very well. So in this way, the purpose of why he took birth, thus the Lord of the universes, maintains all planets inhabited by demigods, men and lower animals, assuming the roles of incarnations. He performs pastimes to reclaim those in the mode of goodness. Second chapter, 34. And yet others say that you appeared for the sake of rejuvenating the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshipping, and so on, in order that the conditioned soul suffering from material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation. Question 4. Describe the activities of the incarnations of the Lord. The Lord's incarnations are described in chapter 3 of the first canto. Okay, so so basically in chapter 3, you will see that all the names of the various incarnations and very briefly what their pastimes are have also been explained in chapter 3, which is similar to question 5. Tell us of the acts of the Lord, the Lord performs in relationship to creating the material world. So connected to those incarnations, now we have the Purusha incarnations. Which are the Purusha incarnations? Karanadakshay Vishnu, then Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and then Kshirodakshay Vishnu. Okay. So on the Karana ocean is Karana Vishnu. Right, who's sleeping on the causal ocean. Karana means cause. So why is it Karana? Because the entire cosmos, the whole material world comes from there. Karana Vishnu. And then once the universe is created, he himself, how to leave all of us alone? He's such a kind father, how to leave us alone? What will they do without us? Without me, he feels. So then he enters this universe as Garbha. He enters inside the womb of the universe. Garbhodakshay Vishnu. And the other meaning is that from his womb comes Brahma. So Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Then Kshirodakshay Vishnu. Kshirodakshay Vishnu is the Vishnu who enters every atom. And he's the one who we call as Paramatma, who's inside our heart. Right? So these are the 3 Purusha avatars. Then you have the Leela avatars, so many different. Leela avatara means all the incarnations which perform pastimes, various pastimes. Right? The Purusha avatars don't really perform pastimes, but the Leela avatars perform so many pastimes. Now you have the Dashavatara, There are various incarnations are there. And sometimes they are called Mukhya Avataras and Gauna Avataras. So which are the main incarnations, and some are secondary. Right? Some are Jivas also. Not everybody is a Vishnu Tattva. Some of them are Jiva Tattva. Any idea which are the incarnations of the Lord who may be Jiva Tattva? Parashuram. Then Ritu Maharaj. Yeah, Kapila Buddha. All of them. Right? They are all Jiva. So the Lord invests his potency in certain incarnations. So it takes intelligence to see differences. Some people say, no, everything same, everything. Even with Brahma, Vishnu, people keep arguing. No? Why are you looking at differences? One great, one not great. They're all same. And they feel they are very knowledgeable by and benevolent by saying all same. That is lack of intelligence. It's because of lack of intelligence. Discretion takes intelligence to see who is greater, who is lesser, and what is the difference. It takes a lot of intelligence to do that. And because of our acharyas, we have some ability, and we have understood because of what they have written. Okay, just like, say, Lord Ramachandra. He's a Mukhya Avatara. And then you have Parashuram. So Lord Rama, and then you have Kartavirya Arjuna. So Lord Ramachandra, he was able to control Parashurama. So that makes Ramachandra superior. He was able to control Parashurama. You know that pastime, right? And then Parashurama defeats Kartavirya Arjuna, who was an incarnation of the Lord's Shakti, the Sudarshan. Right? So then Parashurama becomes superior, like that. Through pastimes, we understand differences. So we must meditate on these pastimes, and we have to see how these different pastimes are, why the Lord is performing in this way, why it happens in that way, why Lord Buddha came, who's Lord Buddha. The Buddha that is most popular these days is not our Lord Buddha. That is Gautama Buddha. Gautama Buddha is who comes 2,500 years ago. That is not our Buddha. That is their Buddha. They can keep him. Our Buddha is different. Our Buddha came in the beginning of Kali Yuga. The beginning of Kali Yuga, he appears. That is our Lord Buddha. Did he preach atheism? Yeah, he did. For a reason, because there were asuras who were equipped with the Vedas. And they were reading the Vedas and misusing the Vedas. So we had to disconnect them from the Vedas. So then he came with his very beautiful speech, beautiful talk, and he misguided them and he took them away. And he said that, no, you leave the Vedas, you follow me. So he did that. Right? So Buddha, so we need to know that who's our Buddha, why this Buddha, why that. So we should not go to Tibet and start worshipping, their Buddha over there. Our Buddha is different. So that is, because this Buddha was also, Bauddha Dharma was refuted in the Brahma Sutras by Vyasadeva himself. And Vyasadeva, did he come after Buddha or before Buddha? Brahma Sutra was written even before. That was written in the end of Dwapar Yuga. And Buddha came in the beginning of Kali Yuga. So then Vyasadeva is talking about a Buddha of a previous Kalpa, because Buddha also is coming. Every Chatur Yuga he comes, just like the other incarnations. And the other incarnations, they may not necessarily come in the same chronological order. Right? Matsya, Kurma, may not be like that. Sometimes even Varaha comes first. So this mix match happens. Some details will change here and there. Narasimha doesn't always come breaking the pillar. Sometimes he comes from the sky. And his color is not always golden. There is Shweta Narasimha also. In one of the Kalpas, he comes with white mane, white hair. Not like this, very beautiful white hair. Right? His white hair is glorious. So he comes like that in different forms. So details may change, but the message is always the same. The purpose is always the same, to reclaim the souls. To perform so many pastimes that we get so excited looking at his pastimes, attracted, that we lose taste in this material world. So that is about the Purushavataras. And the final question, where have religious principles gone after Krishna's disappearance from this planet? So now what is our shelter? It's a valid question. No? Now Krishna, all right, we understood so many wonderful things now, but Krishna is not there. Now what to do? Kali Yuga is here. I don't see Krishna. What to do? I mean, I see Krishna. But, in terms of conversation, maybe the Lord is speaking to us, but we can't hear. But it's not the Dwapara Yuga situation, no? Directly have a conversation with Krishna. So then where should we go? Has the Lord appeared? Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? The Lord has appeared there. Wonderful verse. Can somebody please read that verse? Wonderful. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is our only friend in this material world. There is nobody else. Anybody else you think is your relative, is your close friend who will come and save you? Nobody else. We don't have anybody else. Okay. Everybody, just like Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains, in the river Ganges, some grass, hay, they all come and meet sometimes. Then they, because of the force of the waves, they get dissipated, they go here and there. That's what relatives are. In this lifetime, I feel my father, my mother, my this, my that, and we are floating together. Then one push comes and then everybody gets separated and they go to different places. Then we meet another group of grass. Then they think, oh, this is my grass, my father grass, my mother grass. Then they get dissipated from there. Okay, but please understand this with maturity. Don't go home and tell your father, you piece of grass. Who are you? Devotees do that sometimes. We have to, it's our responsibility in this particular lifetime. We have to take care of them. That is also there. We have to take care of them and all that. But we have to understand on a spiritual level, we have to understand that this is the truth, because we have only one friend. And that one friend is Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srila Prabhupada has given us that Srimad Bhagavatam, and he says, if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, then immediately you will realize God. Srila Prabhupada tells in one letter, one devotee, he wrote one article, I believe, and he says that live with Srila Prabhupada. And how do we live with Srila Prabhupada? What's the process? The perfection of life is to live with Srila Prabhupada. And how to live with Srila Prabhupada? Srila Prabhupada writes in a letter that if you read my books, if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, then you will live with me forever. I will always be there. So it is wrong for us to say that Srila Prabhupada is gone. He is not with us anymore. Srila Prabhupada is very much here. And Srila Prabhupada is here in his words and his purports. And Srila Prabhupada has worked so hard, so much of, even when he was unwell, even if he has ignored temples, this, that, after a point, Prabhupada disconnected from all these things. He said, you manage, he set up GBC, he did all that, you manage all these organizational things, because his 100% focus was on Srimad Bhagavatam, was on writing books. So the most important element in our whole movement is Srimad Bhagavatam. And how sad it is if we don't read Srimad Bhagavatam, if we don't read the purpose of Srila Prabhupada. So during Guru Puja, I may jump saying Prabhupada, Prabhupada, very nice. But it doesn't mean much if I'm not reading Srila Prabhupada's books. It's very important. Particularly if you're a preacher, right? Minimum 1 hour you should read. I'm not following very much, but His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrit Swami Maharaj once asked me. He said, "What is your service?" He said, "Maharaj, I take some classes, Bhakti Shastri here or there, something." He asked me, "So how much do you read?" I wanted to impress him. I thought it's because, usually what is recommended is 1 hour. So I told 1.5, sometimes 2. He said, that's not good at all. He said, minimum 3 hours. He said, 1 hour is a devotee who's just coming, the Sunday devotees. 1 hour is okay. Don't be a Sunday devotee. If you want to preach, then you have to read at least 3 hours. Isn't it? That is Srimad Bhagavatam. We have to spend time. And every day, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. And Bhagavata is book Bhagavata and person Bhagavata. Serve devotees also. Srila Prabhupada's disciples, grand disciples, so many wonderful devotees are there who are gracing us. All of them are dust at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. And by serving all of them, we are serving Srila Prabhupada. So we should not hesitate when we get opportunities to serve, we should seek opportunities to serve. That should be our mode. And when we serve, then ahaituki apratihata. In a ahaituki mood, apratihata mood, we have to serve. That should be the process. Okay, so there is so much more for us to discuss, but time is a concern. So we will end the conversation here. If there are, if I have committed any mistake, kindly forgive me. If the sages have any questions or you have any comments, something you want to share, you can. Prabhu, I don't know how much time you have. A minute or two, if somebody has any petition. Yes, Prabhu.
Usually the program where they are educated many times. Initially the Bhagavatam didn't have that sound. But Bhagavatam is absolute. So no matter how much time you do, so I can you explain why the letter or something.
No, Vyasadeva is completely aware of Srimad Bhagavatam, but he was here to teach us through the multiple additions that he made to Bhagavatam by adding what Shukadev Goswami said and by later adding what Sutta Goswami said. He is teaching us the process of how to relish Bhagavatam. That with my personal study, so it's not that what Narad Muni gave to Vyasadeva is anyway incomplete. Not at all. It is very much complete. But then the same mango, when it is pecked by a shuka, a parrot, in a mango tree, which is the tastiest mango, you may not be able to recognize. But the parrot is an expert in the tree. Just by looking at the mangoes, he knows which is the sweetest mango, and he will go and peck that mango. So the one that is pecked by a parrot, you pluck that, you leave. Guaranteed, that's the sweetest mango in that tree. So he wanted to teach us that even though the Srimad Bhagavatam exists, if it is spoken by Shukadev Goswami, then it becomes even more sweet. That is the process. Just like once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was along with his devotees, and they were all very hungry. So Mahaprabhu made one mango tree. And what kind of mango tree? Mango tree without seeds and without skin. The mangoes growing in that tree had no seed, no skin. So all the difficult parts he removed. Can you imagine? Pluck and chomp, finish. Just eating it. So Mahaprabhu also was showing us that is Srimad Bhagavatam. Because there is nothing else. There is no sense gratification. There is no, if you do this, you will enjoy life. Nothing like that. You will go to heavenly planets. No, nothing like that. From the beginning to the end, Srimad Bhagavatam is filled with pastimes of the Lord and filled with the ultimate goal of how what is your purpose of life and how you can achieve that goal. That was the purpose. Okay. Yes, bro.
There is some amount of compromise that we also hear that one in Bhagavatam or class, reading Bhagavad class, and 1 hour we read, that is also going to be.
Yeah.
Is that what it meant, or we have to send it to Bhagavatam?
However, it is like when Srila Prabhupada says Rupa Goswami's recommendation, 50% of whatever you earn, you must give donation. Before tax, after tax, after paying my EMIs, and then 50% or before that. So according to our situation, however we want, we try and adjust it. But at least what was personally told to me was, listening, hearing is different, and then, personal study. So this is basically about preaching. So if you're going to talk to other devotees, then you must know, little bit what I'm talking about, and I should read. And there will always be, no matter how much you read and whatever you know, we will always be humbled. We will always, somebody will humble us and tell us that you don't know anything. So that is, if you read sincerely, then you will not become puffed up. Whatever you read, you share it with devotees. And then the best way to learn is to preach. So you can read, and personally, I'm in front of the Lord, so I cannot lie. 3 hours is difficult for me also, because then you have work and so many other things to manage. But we must try. That's the goal. Because senior devotees, they represent the previous acharyas, and they give you a goal that you must do this. Then we have to spend our lifetime trying to achieve that goal. So he also knows. He has told 3 hours. Useless fellow may not be able to do that much, but at least since the 3 hour goal is there, we keep striving towards that. right? Donation 50%. I may not be able to do right now if my consciousness is not allowing me to do that, but something at least. Start with 5%, then give 10%, something at least, whatever I can, right? Then my faith in Krishna will improve. Otherwise, I will feel I am managing my finances. It is Krishna. It's always Krishna. Correct? So, and we will not become puffed up. In the morning before the class, Mahananda Prabhu asked me one question, and I did not know the answer to that. So he said, you are giving class on this, so I wanted to know. He asked me one question, I had no answer. So I begged forgiveness. I said, I will find out the answer and I will tell you. So you can read 3 hours, 6 hours, but there will always be questions that you have no answers to. And that will always keep us humble. And that's the process. Okay, so should we end the class here? Jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Namo Pranam. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Gaur Premanande.
As I said initially, he is very sincerely associated with his own Bhakti Rasam Swami Maharaj. It's like Maharaj also very sweet and the same very deep. Same Prabhuji also represent the same qualities in present Bhagavatam. So let us thank Prabhuji for his very glorious presentation and very beautiful presentation, touching all of our hearts and taking us so closer to the 6 questions of the sages. We understand one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra, thanking Prabhuji for his Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.